Well, hello, everyone. It is Wednesday, April 2nd, and we are going live at a different time today, waiting for President to come on, and we will be streaming his speech as well. I am trying to get this all set up here. Okay. Well, it looks like we've got everything working here on all platforms. A little bit of duct tape, a little bit of help, the universe. Let's see here. So we've got, we're waiting for Alex and the guys to get here. Let's see. All right, well, let's do some, Daddy D's here. Hello, Daddy D. Glad you could make it. Kelly Scott's here. Yes, Liberation Day. King's Girl 1974 is here. Good afternoon, King's Girl. Chris Romano is here. Hey, Chris, glad you could make it. Christy just joined. Hey, Christy B. Terry Dykes is here. Hey, Terry. Glad you could make it. Joy is here. Hey, Joy. As I said, we are waiting for the guys to get here. We will be streaming President Trump's speech. It looks like they put 1 o'clock now. So let's see. I think we see Alex here. There we go. So yeah, they did push it back to 1 o'clock Eastern time. We're going to go through. Well, good morning, afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I'm so used to saying good morning. I kind of threw me for a loop there.
No worries. How are you, Sam?
I'm good, Alex. We are just getting things going. We've got Melissa is here. 65 is here. 6U is here. Subi Q is here. And looks like we got Dave. Hold on there, Dave. I'm bringing you up as we speak. All right, there we go. So, Alex, tell me what's going on this morning or this afternoon. Any new developments?
I don't know which direction is up right now, Sam. I have a second to pull up all my windows so we can look at going on prices. Dave, how are you today, sir?
Oh, I think we paused Dave there. We have James. Oh, James is here. It looks like. Let me see here. Hold on, James. I'm fiddling. You got it. Okay, great. Share Baby 29 is here. One of our subscribers. Hey, Share Baby. Glad. Amy said, "What's Trump talking today?" What? No, that's we're going to be covering that. Trump is coming. President Trump's coming on about 1 o'clock Eastern time now. It was 3 o'clock, and it looks like they moved it 1 o'clock to 4 o'clock. I don't know what took place or what happened, but hey, I'm married to Bob is here. Hey, Bob, I'm married to Bob. Franny Dragonfly. Hello, Franny. Glad you could make it. Traveler is here. One of the subscribers. Hey, Traveler. Glad you could make it. Okay, so Dave, or I should say Adam's here. Hey, Adam.
Hey, guys. How are we doing today?
Doing well. Getting ready for getting things set up over here. James, how are you?
Good afternoon, gentlemen. I'm doing good. Just enjoying, we got 6 inches of snow now, and it's not going to stop till tomorrow afternoon.
Oh, really? Wow.
Stock market, S&P 500's up 15, Dow's up 100, now 77, gold up 1772, $3,163.70 an ounce.
Wow. And what about what's happening with the stock market?
Up.
Really surprising to me.
I know.
I'm shocked over that.
It's not up a lot, but it's not.
I thought it would have been crashed. You know what I mean?
They know it. Crude oil's at $71 a barrel.
Oh, so it went up a little bit. Interesting.
71.79.
Okay, got it. Traveler, thank you. Melissa, thank you. Janet, thank you. It's appreciated. Mike Grand Mason said, "Happy Liberation Day." Same to you, brother. Christy, thank you for the gifts. Janet, the gifts. Boy, we already made it 50% to our goal. You guys better slow down. Breaks a little bit. All right. Oh, I'm getting a little bit of an adjustment to make here. Hold on a second. All right. I think that's better now. All right. So, Adam, have you seen significant going on this morning?
Haven't seen anything significant. I've heard a lot of rumblings, and I think we're probably going to maybe get a little bit more than just tariffs. We might get an announcement on the IRS. We might get a few other things that we might hopefully be pleasantly surprised.
We've been speculating that, but I don't know what to expect at this point. Now, I did hear, I don't remember if it was you, Adam, or James, or sent it over, but apparently there was some movement made on Canadian tariffs as well as tariffs being, if with the stipulation, if President Trump drops his tariffs, that they'll drop their tariffs. Oh my gosh, you guys already hit the live goal. I'm going to have to reset it. So that's was it that sent that to me. I don't remember who it was.
I sent it over, and then somebody Mexican, but they both Mexicans. They said Mexico will not do anything on tariffs, and Canada said if we drop ours, they'll have theirs.
Interesting.
So it's working. The twisting of the arm is working.
Wow. Oh, that's good. That's good. I mean, I'm not really surprised it happened that quickly, but I'm not surprised that they capitulated to what President Trump is doing at this point.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, they're really going to try to call us bluff because we already know the answer. So
yeah, no kidding.
So it doesn't make much sense.
I don't think it makes much sense either. Now, there's been a lot of rumblings, not only about the tariffs, but a lot of military going on as well. Now, James, you're the expert of the military firepower. What are you seeing over the last 24 hours?
The last 20, we now have 6 B-2 stealth in the air in the Yemen region.
Wow.
As
Wow.
of about 15 minutes ago.
Wow, that's crazy. Flyfish says, I love my country. Yes, we do too, Fish. Jess Kilgore, thank you for the tiny dinies. It's wonderful. Janet is here. Thank you, Janet. We have now, in case you guys are seeing the lights kind of messing around, my nephew's here with us today, and he is working on the lights actively as we are doing our live. In fact, Jerry, why don't you just pop in and say hi to everybody?
Hi, everybody.
Let's see if he can get in here. There he is. Hey, this is the madman behind all of the set and all the lights. He's doing a great job.
Wing Rider just posted as Doug Ford is live right now saying he's willing to drop all tariffs immediately today.
Now, who said that?
Wing Rider posted that saying that he's watching it right now, saying that Doug Ford is live right now saying that he'll drop them today.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, again, I don't know what to, I mean, let's go around that. Let's do a round table here, you guys. Let's do a survey first. Put a 1 in the chat if you think something significant is in addition to the tariffs. Put a 2 in the chat if you think it's only going to be the tariffs. So 1 more than the tariffs, 2 significantly more, just the tariffs. 1 more, 2 just the tariffs. So we've got Dark Horse 1, oh, Adam, Subi 1, Franny Dragonfly 1, Interstate Inmate 1, Daddy D 1, Chris Romano 2, Kingstrucker 2, Melissa 2, Just Like Beth Dutton 2, Kelly Thurman 2, DC 1, a lot of ones, and of course we have to have Discon app with a 3. Always got to be 1 in the crowd. Huh? Discon app, we're on to you, brother. Scratch 65 1, El Jefe 2. So let's go around the table here, and what do you guys? Do you think we're going to see more than just the tariffs, or are we just going to see tariffs?
It'll be tariffs. But that's enough for me.
Well, yeah, that's a big move. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm afraid it'll just be tariffs. We always want more, but we've been burned a couple times now, haven't we? So I'm going to go with Alex on this one, probably.
Yeah. Adam?
I was actually in the Alex and Dave camp until early this morning. Another conversation with a couple of individuals, and they were throwing down some other information. So because of that, I kind of shifted a little bit and went to the 1. So I think we're probably going to see more than that. I'm sure there might be a surprise bomb, hopefully.
Yeah, and we'll see. James, what are your thoughts?
Oh, for sure, the tariffs, that's a win-win right there already from what we've heard in just the news. But I think they're going to probably cover some of the military stuff going on. And I think they're probably going to be talking about some of the arrests that have taken place already.
Boy, that'd be a bombshell. That would be a bombshell. I don't know. Who knows? I don't know what to think. I tend to think.
Okay, if we're going to have an arrest, who do you think it's going to be is my next question.
Well, there's somebody's in charge of all that Social Security fraud. I think that's probably going to be top of the list.
Well, that could be. Alex, what do you think?
It could be. I'm still trying to catch up from yesterday. The FBI vault files. There were like, I don't know, 13 or 14 drops. William Casey, Bomb Rob, Alexander Haig. Man, they just keep dumping stuff from the 80s, from the 90s, like Larry Flynn.
Larry Flynn?
Flint.
Oh, Flint. Huh. Now you got to, that's got Hugh Hefner. I mean, all those guys have got to be involved in that at some level, I would think.
Donald Rumsfeld.
Oh, ho, ho, ho. Now that's a big one.
Yeah.
Is he still alive? I don't even know if he's still alive.
I believe he
I believe he is, yeah.
Huh. So we have Terry Hendrickson said, "Love you, Patriots." We love you too, Terry. Glad you're here. We have Melissa. Wow, Melissa. Oh, Arjo's here. Hey, Arjeffco. Glad you could make it. Thank you for the gifts, Melissa. Thank you for the tiny dime. You are wonderful. So everybody on TikTok, if you would, double tap that screen, share this live out. Let's get a bunch of people. As we said yesterday and earlier today, we're going to be covering President Trump's speech live. It's supposed to start at at 3 o'clock Eastern time, but they've changed it to 4 o'clock. So as long as you guys are up for it, we're just going to push through and see how far if you guys can hang in there with me. I think it's going to be interesting. Tammy C54 is here. She's had a bunch of tiny dinies. Franny, tiny dinies. Thank you, Franny. Now, you guys, I'm getting these messages. It looks like we have new subscribers, but I'm having trouble seeing who they are. Can you guys see them?
Yeah, you just had one come by. I see him.
I don't know which one that was, and it's not really giving me a highlight. So I'm sorry, whoever that was that just sent a subscriber. But if you would just send me a note in the chat, and we'll recognize you. That would be wonderful. So we have, let's see, Susie Kabloozy's here. Oh my goodness, Susie's here. Welcome, Susie.
Never missed anything.
Oh, it was Tammy C54 just subscribed. Tammy, welcome to the Inner Circle. I'm glad you could make it, and I'm glad that you joined us on our subscription. Traveler, whole bunch of tiny dinies. And Susie said, "Have I missed anything?" Now we're kind of getting up to speed, Susie. We were expecting President Trump to go live at 3 o'clock Eastern time, and they pushed it back to 4 o'clock. So we're just going to power through and see what we see as we move forward. All right, guys.
Hey, hey, Alex, what time does the market shut down totally?
4 Eastern.
Oh, that's weird timing.
Oh, yeah. Hey, there you go. Exactly. So,
Conspiracy theorists.
I know, isn't that the truth?
Just a coincidence.
So Zero Hedge came out and made some statements about all that's going on around Taiwan and China. Now, I know we discussed it a little. Yes, sir. Oh, I know we discussed it a little bit yesterday, but it's getting more and more press. The narrative is being seeded about Taiwan. We know what's going on in the Middle East. We have Russia now, talking about their conscription or their drafts being needed for another 180,000 men. It sure seems to me a lot of saber rattling. What do you guys think? Adam, what's your thoughts?
Again, there's a lot of posturing going on, and I think we're going to kind of see, like what we've got in here with the posture with the tariffs. I think we're seeing the same thing from a military standpoint. But I think when it all to it, it's just going to be nothing more than a lot of noise. I think this is just to kind of keep the public riled up.
James, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm on board with that. There, you know, he's saying a lot. We talked about this in the last couple of days. You know, it's kind of that some of these other countries are beefing up their military when we're contracted don't need pilots. I think that's kind of is it a coincidence? I don't know.
Yeah, that's significant, Dave.
Yeah, it's you know, I was just when we were talking about that, I'm like, oh hey, what about Ukraine and Russia? What's going on there? Well, it's kind of quiet. It's on the back burner. You know, we're talking about Iran and all that. Now that's on the front headlines, and we're not even talking about Ukraine anymore, are we?
Exactly. I don't know what to make of it all, other than they are certainly ratcheting up the war drum narrative everywhere. And
what do they know that we don't?
that's a very good question. What do you think, Alex?
I'm just putting it out there.
Come on, man. I think you have some inside sources and you're not coming across with the info.
Your dog might just bite. What do they know that we don't?
Very much so. Oh, Amber Patterson just joined as a subscriber. Thank you, Amber. Glad you could make it and glad you joined part of the inner circle. So go ahead, Amber.
Dog will growl, but if he's got a real bite, that's all I'm going to do. And then there ain't going to be a whole lot of barking after that.
Well, again, I firmly believe that President Trump and President Putin are on the same page. Now, what they're going to be doing in terms of public, that's the big question. But I'm not concerned. You know, I'm not overly concerned about what may or may not be happening. So let's talk a little bit about. Oh, here's a good one. Eric Trump yesterday comes out and said, I quote, "I truly believe that Bitcoin is one of the greatest stores of value, immediately liquid, an unbelievable hedge against real estate, and something we're really excited about." And as we discussed yesterday, he and Trump Jr. have launched American Bitcoin, which is a Bitcoin mining corporation, to the best of my knowledge. Alex, can you pull up some information on that? Dave and Adam, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, again, the Trump is not stupid when it comes to that. And you know what they say about Bitcoin? Don't sell it. So if you're into it for mining, they ain't looking to sell it.
Exactly.
Well, it's been around for a while. I think what's coming is it wants to go public.
What, their company or?
American Bitcoin.
Oh, okay. James, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I agree with all you guys on that. You know, it's interesting for I'm not going to say naysayers, but not in the know. You guys know what I did this morning. If you wanted a little homework project on your own, call your bank and ask them if they're leaning towards being ISO 20022 compliant in the near future, and you'll be surprised at what.
Well, if you're comfortable saying, why don't you give us info on what your bank said?
I bank at Navy Federal Credit Union, and I called them. They were in the process of training, and they're training all their staff to be up to par. They said that basically in the infancy stage, they just started it, but Navy Federal is quite a large credit union. They take care of the bulk of our military, and they're going to be on board with it. You're going to be able to bank with crypto.
Right. Free Matthew Phillips said, "Here comes the reset." Well, I agree, Matthew. We are smack dab in the middle of the switch, in my opinion.
And if you want a current list of cryptos that 20,022 compliant, ISO compliant, XR Cardano, Quant, Hologram, Stellar, Hedera, IOTA, and XBC.
So, Alex, can you explain the difference between a meme coin, a stable coin, and the different factors of those?
A meme coin is just, oh cool, look, I made a coin.
Okay.
That's really it.
And that's the Trump coin, isn't it?
Trump is a meme coin.
Yes. Yeah.
But the coins that have utility stable coins are what are tied to currency. So USDC, different stable coins. They're tied 1-to-1. So that's how you take your dollar and convert it over, right? If I put some money into crypto, say Coinbase, and that stable coins are I'm gonna for how to explain stable coins. It's a 1-to-1 ratio.
Well, they're pegged to a specific fiat currency, right?
Correct.
Yeah.
So if I wanted to my money out of crypto back in, like you do in the stock market, I'd move it over into the money markets. Then I'm effectively it back over to cash. Those are the stable coins. Whereas the crypto coins, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tether, XRP, Solana, Cardano, like whichever technology you're talking about, where you have your crypto coins.
Well, Melissa, or I should say, Wendy said that her husband is 100% against crypto. Well, there's a difference between cryptocurrency large and Bitcoin and fiat. And I understand that, but when you're talking about a fiat currency, they can increase the number of dollars at will. Exactly what Alex just did, versus something like a Bitcoin where there's a limited supply, 21 million Bitcoin that will ever be produced. And if you have the type of encryption that Bitcoin incorporates, it's never going to get broken. Number two, not only is it a limited supply, but it's called a decentralized ledger. There are nodes of computers all over the world that are verifying every transaction on that block. And I think partly what we're going to see moving into the new economy is here in California, for example, they have taken, I think it was 32 million not registrations, and they have taken 32 million automobile titles and they put them into the blockchain, because apparently there was a lot of fraud going on here in California. So they removed the fraud by putting it into a blockchain. That's the same principle as Bitcoin. You can't mess with the numbers. You can't manipulate the numbers. And I think that's partly where we're going in terms of tokenization.
That's exactly right. I mean, if whether you like it or not, I mean, even your bank statements have been on the blockchain already for the last few years. Everything's moving to the blockchain, the quantum technology, et cetera. I mean, we've been living in a fiat print for the last 100 years plus, and it just doesn't work. I mean, the fact that it's even lasted as long, your average fiat system has only got a lifespan of about 50 years total.
Well, I think it works, but it works for the bad guys.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't work for all the people. It only works for a few.
Right. Exactly.
And the fact that crypto, it's here. It is a thing now. It is not going away. It's not just something that was over on some gaming website as a little or anything like that. It is how we're transacting now. We're just on the leading edge of it. Well, this is your current now isn't. It's still like just because you have a bill that represents, it's still all transferred electronic. It's still
and there's a difference between cryptocurrency and what the ISO tokens and ISO 2002 is a national standard, okay, for the way that financial messaging happens. And as of fall of 2024, about 27% of the world's banks are already compliant with ISO 20022, which means they are setting up the interoperability for them to be able to communicate to each other using this technology. It's not going anywhere, folks. This is not the crypto talk of 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, where only the bad people use it, and it's them, and don't touch it, don't use it, you'll lose your money. This is happening, And once the banking sector adopts, you're going to start to see action across all financial transactions that happen. Imagine me and Sam being able to send each other money instantly. And Venmo, PayPal, Western Union, the bank, nobody makes any money off of that. It goes from my wallet to Sam's wallet, right? Instantly. Hey, Alex, you owe me $20 for the can of Pacha and okay, man, here's your $20. I mean, it's going to end up being the way cars, the way you buy houses, the way you transact at grocery stores. But it's not big, and it's not, because literally you're just going to pull the card out of your wallet, and rather than it being attached to,
a central bank
currency in a bank account, it's going to be attached to your crypto in a bank account of sorts.
Right. James, what are your thoughts?
I'm on with all of it. When you listen and learn about the different are becoming online, Japan was completely against it, and yesterday they flipped the switch and they said, "Yeah, we're on board with that." And people are going to have to get accustomed to it.
It's the cycle, right? We're going to attack it. It's bad. It's terrible. Nobody uses it but the bad gangster drug dealers, blah, 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 blah. And then they sue it. And then they legislate it and adopt it. And we are in adoption phase, folks.
Right. And I think people are concerned about the rhetoric behind CBDCs, which is a different entity. It's not the same as what we're talking about with Bitcoin and what have you. And maybe the transition time from going from CBDC bad, which I agree with, to Bitcoin being good, and the digital system becoming more mainstream, I think that in the right direction.
Well, we don't want to step back into the same swamp that we've been in. You can't have the central bank control of systems. You just can't. That's why crypto has taken off the way that it has. Decentralized. This is one single entity that controls the monetary system anymore. This is a ledger that is distributed across hundreds of thousands of computers that has to authenticate across a multitude of variables in a very secure way that is encrypted, that can't be hacked. Nobody can. And oh, look, you have money. Elon Musk just said they found 14 computers at the Treasury where people could just sit down and create money. I wish I'd have known about it out of the letters ahead of time, but
and another thing. Oh, go ahead, Dave.
I was going to ask, what stops us? What's our connection or contract with the Federal Reserve or the world?
Well,
stopping everybody to say, Ronnie.
What's that?
Willful compliance.
Well, again, that whole system is being broken down. And I think, and this is just my opinion, but if you go back to Yahoo News in March of 2020, President Trump essentially merged the Federal Reserve and the U.S. Treasury back then. So what we've been seeing are two separate systems, the SWIFT system and the digital system running side by side. And I think examples of that would be, you use Zelle right now, there's no charge for that. If you use Venmo now, they don't charge you to send and receive. If you use PayPal, which I have all of these accounts, they're no longer charging to send and receive. So I think that transition to the new system is well on its way. Let me do Mimi Divinity said, when is Trump speaking? He will be on at 4 o'clock Eastern time. Amy Ruger's here over on YouTube. Eddie Deuce Cab is here as well.
30 minutes, folks.
Yeah, about 30 minutes, everybody. So again, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Sam, one of the things here, and it kind of backs up to kind of where we led into this conversation with the Trump boys. There's one thing that I think that's really going to be front here on a surprising level, and that's that sovereign wealth fund. Because if you've got the boys in that mining, and that means that you can disperse, because it sets up on the blockchain. It's a transparent ledger that's secure, where it's instantaneous. You've even got, I mean, escrow companies right now that you can go transact crypto. So a lot of it is moving towards that sovereign wealth fund more really realize.
Well, I
It
think,
all started with a Starbucks coffee bought with Bitcoin.
well, and again, I think you're right, Adam. I think we are looking at a transition. Personal belief is those two systems are running side right now. And that what they're doing is they are, they're warming the population up to ultimately what's going to be the new economy. And
Right.
so many people are afraid of it that, as we've talked about many times, you have to be cool. You have to bring people up slowly. You have to let them understand what's going on in a way where they can assimilate it. And I think that's exactly what's happening. Go ahead, Alex.
For the everyday person, it's not going to be any different than you do now.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
there are some of us who prefer to transact in cash, but look at how many companies now, storefronts that you walk in with cash and they say we don't accept cash. So it's just going to that little transaction that you're already used to. You swipe your card or insert it, let it read the chip or tap, or double click your iPhone for Apple Pay. Like it's not going to be this big revolutionary hardcore change everybody that has to learn and adopt. Those of us that have been in it for a long time have already trudged through the mud and had to learn how to get on and off of the ledger using difficult technology to understand in the beginning. Now you have exchanges. Now you can just go to an exchange like Coinbase or other and set up your account, you upload your ID, and now all of a sudden, click, I can buy. But it didn't used to be like that, folks. It's not easy to get Bitcoin in the beginning.
You know what that reminds?
There are the two. You still have, there are centralized cryptos and there's decentralized. And it's a matter of becoming educated on yourself to understand what's what. What's Web3? How do I hold my own funds in my own literal wallet?
You know what that reminds me of, you guys? From 1997 to 2001, I was in a technology firm, right? We brokered semiconductors. And back then, there was a specific website you had to go to. You had to understand how the system worked in order to purchase a URL, www.whatever.com. Today, what do? You go to GoDaddy, you type, and they say, yeah, you can have it, or no, you can't. It's already taken. It's simple that, because back then you had to go to specific websites. You had to have the protocols. What's that?
I can.
Yeah, exactly. You had to have the protocols that URL that you wanted. Today, it's simple. You go to GoDaddy, you go to wherever, type it in. Oh, yeah, you want to hear, click. And you want it. So I think it's very similar, but it's taken, how long did it take to get from the inception for .coms back then to where it is today? 25 years or 20 years, right? So I think we're looking at the same thing, but I think that the adoption phase is much quicker when it comes to digital currency.
And I can already see down here in the comments, Sissy's talking about, she's like, but I like my cash. Well, we're going to see some new bills, and this is strictly me, and I have nothing to base this off of, but I think you'll see new bills that'll actually tie to the ledger, to the blockchain, and that way it's accounted for. And it'll still transact the same as we have now, just like I was saying earlier.
Right.
And
Right.
I think a lot of people like the cash idea because they feel like they have more privacy.
Right.
Yeah. And I don't think cash is going away. I think it's a different dollar bill, but I don't see it going away personally.
Right.
So we have, and Skydancer talked about smart contracts. That's a whole nother subject. Yes.
Once you understand crypto, it is digital, but it's a lot like having cash.
Yeah, I would agree.
Nobody's telling me. Nobody knows that I spent cash unless you're under the digital surveillance state, and they use face recognition to know that I was at Walmart at 4 and bought some Skull.
Right.
If I pay cash, there's no digital record other than me handing them the cash, then bringing me my change, and I go on my way. And it's a lot the same in crypto. it can, transactions can be tracked, like just like a cereal on a dollar bill. Like, I don't know how many people have had the bill, when they used it, or what they bought with it.
Yeah. Hey, Alex, something wrong with your camera.
Yeah, that's all right. I'll fix it.
Okay. Sissy said, but my cash says legal tender, and we love to have cash as gifts. I don't think cash is going away, Sissy. I think the mechanics behind the monetary system is primarily what's changing. I think we're going to have a different bill. I don't think it's going to be the Federal Reserve note anymore, which is a debt-based instrument. But I don't see us moving away from cash completely. Now, again, I could be wrong, but that's just my take on it.
Well, the other thing,
I think over time it'll wean out, but as the younger comes up and get used to crypto and digital, it'll wean the cash off big time.
Right.
well, one of the other things that we often seem to forget about is if we hold the right type of crypto, the benefit of the rise in price is instantly felt. If you carry a certain crypto, or you hold a certain crypto and its value rises, you instantly get that gain.
Right. Exactly. Christy B said there are many places in Hayesville that accept cash only. Again, I don't think it's going away, but as we move further in the adoption phase, it's going to be seamless. You're not going to really, it's not going to be this major issue to be able to deal and transact in crypto, in my opinion. Scott Daddy said, should I pay my house off with some of my cash? Well, again, I don't see, I think there's going to be an adjustment in the real estate market. This is not advice. I personally think that there is going to be an adjustment in the real market. We can already see it in the commercial real estate. You can already see it in the number of houses on the market. You can already see it in many different ways. There's going to be adjustments there. And I think there's going to be adjustments in the stock market. Now, what those are and when they're going to happen, your guess is as good as mine. But I would be leery of making any major investments. This is not investment advice. It's just my opinion on whether it's real estate or the stock market. In fact, I had somebody message me the other day about it. And that's exactly what I said. I don't know how it's going to play out, but you cannot have a stock market that's so overvalued. And the application of the stocks has been going on for decades without sort of an adjustment, in my opinion. Dave, what do you think?
Yeah, we were talking, me and another friend were talking about that. It's obviously the last administration, I believe, pumped this stock market up. We've been running on edge further than what I believe we know we are. So I don't know if the money from Maine was backlogging it, coming back into the system. I feel like something for the last 4 years have been happening in my mind.
Right.
In my opinion.
Joseph Povic, I'm sorry if I butchered your name, said, what if the value drops? Well, you have to look at it not from a day-to-day standpoint. Look at it over a 1 month, 1 year, 2 year, 5 year, 10-year scope. And if you look at Bitcoin over a 5-year run, Alex, are you in a place where you can pull up the 5-year Bitcoin run?
I mean, we got here, but let's look at the 10-year, right? Let's compare it to 401ks. People are investing in 401ks for 20 plus years. So if you go back, just for example, 2013, that's when Bitcoin hit $100 a coin. And in 2023, 2024, it broke $100,000 a coin. That's going from $100 to $100,000. So it's not the quick sprint, get rich quick. It's about the long game.
Right. Jojo, it's Kelly said, do y'all think that our 401ks and IRAs will transfer over? Yeah, I don't think there's I have no concern that legitimate money in the system will be revalued appropriately. Now, one of the things that people have talked about for some time, people are concerned with zeros. And what I mean by that is, let's say you have $1 million in the bank and overnight it becomes $100, okay? But what if you can now buy it for $50,000 and a car for $5,000? that used to cost you $1 million for the house and $50,000 for a car. Let's just say, hypothetically, that they read you the currency and you lose half of what you have cash. But the cost of living gets reduced by 50 or 100, whatever the number is. It's the number of zeros don't matter. It's how much you can purchase with that dollar. And
5 years ago, Bitcoin was $3,800.
yeah, 5 years ago. So to answer your question, what if it goes down? It's going to be volatile, but it continually goes up. And I think that's what we see with most of the cryptocurrencies. Now, not all of them, not the meme coins and what have you, but specifically Bitcoin. And that's why I have been one of the reasons opponent of Bitcoin for as long as I have.
And in the same breath, we'll say the dollar's worth 3 cents compared to what it was.
Right.
Right.
See, one of the things you're really going to kind of see is there's been risk in the system we functioned in. There's been all kinds of stuff. The difference is now there's a lot of these other things that we had in the old system that are going to end up having the new. You're not going to be able to do. Like, for example, in the stock market, if you understood a naked short sale was versus a true short, you would understand one of the mechanisms that it could only happen and only the big boys could use it, suppress or control or raid whatever they wanted to. They can't do that in this system. They've had to kind of adjust. They try to aim a little bit, but it's too transparent now. So
Right.
your hypothecation off of even naked shorts got ridiculous.
Right. Exactly.
It eroded the value of the power of the dollar and everything else.
Right. Let's see. So there was a question here. Oh, Maddie G said people who are in their late 50s have to wait 10 years. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Maybe you could give a little more information in the chat and we can address that question. Diana Ramsey, thank you for the gifts. Tammy C54, thank you for the gifts. You know what? Let me do a quick sponsor check here, guys. So as you all know, I'm sponsored by several companies. One is MyPillow. Michael Lindell is fighting for our country. If you go to mypillow.com and you use the discount code SAM, you'll get up to 80% off of all of your purchases. And I bring him up on every show because he has stood behind me from the day that I started this podcast. So go to mypillow.com, enter in the discount code SAM, get some major discounts. Next is Neil Naturopathic, the only natural, chemical-free hair products in the world that I'm aware of. Dr. Neil is a personal friend of mine. I actually helped him start the company a few years ago. So if you go to Neil Naturopathic, go to samshalhoub.com, look for the hair care products button, click on that button, that'll take you to his website, and use the code SAM20, SAM20 to get 8% off. And then finally, Dr. P, who's been a guest on the show many times, he has two things on my website. You can log in to samshalhoub.com, click on Dr. Glidden's website. There is a plethora of health and wellness information the doc has put together over a number of years. And his new book is out as well. That button is also on my website. Go over to those sponsors, support them. They certainly support us here, and I appreciate it. So a little bit of talk in the chat about Canada. There was a specific province in Canada that came out, and I want to say it was Alberta, but they were talking about wanting to secede from Canada and become part of the United States. Alex, can you pull that up? Was it Alberta that said that? One of them, one of the prime ministers or the whatever they call the head of the territory, said that they wanted to be part of the United States. I think it was Alberta, but I could be wrong. But I find it interesting that that's coming into the narrative now at a greater rate. Oh yeah. So Jojo, it's Kelly said yes, Alberta. So maybe you could pull that up, Alex, and we can get some specifics. Hey, John's here. Hey, John, one of our subscribers. Glad you can make it. In the meantime, let's talk about. I'm wondering if Microsoft is having some issues because I'm able to pull up some of my. Oh, wait a minute. That's my fault. Never mind. Jeez. All right, there we go. So apparently yesterday, Israel removed all goods to avoid President Trump's reciprocal tariffs. Now we have Canada capitulating. It sounds like Mexico is capitulating. And this is the first day of the tariffs. I mean, that is genius on President Trump's part. Threaten, get everybody in a bunch, and pull the rug at the last minute. What do you guys think, Adam?
I think it's literally everyone decided they couldn't bluff any longer, and so Israel. I'm not surprised that they were the first to do it. Mexico going, hey, we're not going to revisit the Alamo, and Canada, it's all been all blow and no go. And yeah, you're right. It is Alberta that's saying, hey, look, we want to join.
Yeah.
And I think you're going to see more and more of that happening. I mean, I think there's probably even Greenland. Hey, look, please take us.
James, what are your thoughts?
Well, they see the tidal wave of power. They see the wave of wealth, and they don't want to miss the train.
I agree. Dave? Oh, I think maybe we lost Dave.
Lead
Alex?
by strength.
Oh.
And I'm here.
Okay,
so
go.
lead by strength is the key.
Yep, I agree. Peace through strength. Maria made it. Hey, Lisa, I'm glad you could make it. So everybody on TikTok, if you would, double tap that screen. Please live out. We are getting ready to live stream President Trump's speech coming up in about 10 minutes-ish. But in the meantime, we're kind of going over the Daily Dispatch and just kind of rooting things out. And boy, there's been a lot of discussion today, and I have to see it. I think it's important that we get these things out of the square, discuss them, hash them out, suss them out. I just think that is absolutely essential to get to the next level.
I think that what we're seeing now even goes back to Trump's original run and his first presidency. The whole point was to push everything back to the people. And I think we're now actually at the point of realizing that, whether it's the sovereign wealth fund that's going to come directly back to every American.
Right.
Not the ones that are trying to claim themselves or be here illegally. I mean, hey, if you want to come here, come here. That's why we're here. That's what makes us what we are. By returning that, you're also going to see the same probably in voting as well.
Right. I think
another topic.
Well, and that's Congressman Tim Burchett came out and predicted that the Doge discoveries will lead to resignation fever in Washington. Now, there is a quote or a portion of that other board that we follow that talks about a different type of weekend, not a resignation weekend, but an unalive weekend. Is that something that Doge is pushing in terms of people not being able to get out while the getting's good in one way or the other? I don't know. Hey, Crystal Zaski's over here on Facebook. Hey, Crystal. So I think it's interesting that Doge is talking about resignation feature. I should say Tim Burchett is talking about resignation fever. Excuse me. I don't know. What do you guys think? James, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm on board with that. Doge is good stuff. And, people they know that we're coming after them. First, they one way, we gave it to them partially. What we didn't give, they stole. Now we're coming back on them saying, you gotta answer for this. And
right.
They're nervous.
Yeah, I would agree. Oh, I think we lost Dave somehow.
Yeah, I think Dave dropped off.
Ingersoll Lockwood website rabbit holes.
What's that, Alex?
Ingersoll Lockwood.
Yeah.
Familiar?
Yeah.
So this is new today. About halfway down the page, it says all criminal hacking activities will be prosecuted. And if you click on the period, it brings up a spreadsheet that has 8,189 entries. And basically what the spreadsheet is of sealed cases, sealed for 2025. It has them broken down by color code. Certain people that like to take advantage of young ones, 13,950 sealed cases just since January 1st. Human trafficking, 842. Notable resignations, 34. This is insane.
Well, if we look at the indictments on pacer.gov, I think we're at both. Huh?
This is Pacer information.
Oh, it is. Okay, so we're over 500,000 on sealed indictments, aren't we?
Not for this year.
No, total.
Correct. But the increase has been 290% for the first February, March.
Just this year.
This is the first quarter.
Wow. Wow.
Like, what?
One of the benefits of Doge going back into, talking about representatives, congressmen, and senators making $200,000 a year, and they've only been in service 6 years. How is it that they have $43 million in the bank? And
Right.
if we go out and we find that there is problems, that money gets confiscated, correct?
I believe so. I think they've already done it a lot of times behind the scenes already. I mean, we're looking at, what is this, Alex?
It's another Ingersoll Lockwood Easter egg.
Oh, interesting.
Outside the White House.
Wow.
So the
He
man
framed it, hung it on the wall.
New York's Post's photo.
Kaya and Vanna, thank you for the gifts.
That looks like George Washington. There's the angel over the door. Reagan. I mean, what?
Interesting. And that's on the Ingersoll Lockwood or on the dead clock?
No, that's on Ingersoll Lockwood.
Hmm.
So one is if you click on products and services we invest and support are made in America with pride, and it's just the period of pride that's a link. Criminal activities will be prosecuted. The period turns into a link.
Interesting.
I'm saying.
I get it. I agree with you.
Put it the Circle K, my friends.
Talking about justice. Yesterday, Elon was talking with, I forget who it was. I want to say it was on Fox. We're talking about the violence and the protest against Tesla. Not only the individuals owning Teslas, but the dealerships and so on and so forth. And he came out, they will be arrested, and that they're not concerned as much with the foot soldiers as they are with the, quote, generals. He was asked point blank, do you know who the generals are? And what was his answer? Yes. So are we going to see arrests?
I was on a live this morning, another political type thing, and it's really telling that people are so intelligent they will get out of their car, be discreet, looking around while they carve bad things into the next to them because it's a Tesla. Not remembering
Sentry mode?
the rear view mirrors on both sides all the way around the car are cameras recording.
It is a live stream from every camera and every sensor from a Tesla. It is a network. If anybody thinks that they're going to get away with it, not going to happen.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. So let's talk a little bit about the House of Representatives. Interesting that they're going to take the rest of the week off. There were several major votes that were supposed to happen this week. They are not going to happen now because of this. And then you have Hakeem Jeffries going on a rant for 25 hours. Now, I don't understand. I don't know what the hell that's all about. He was anti-Trump, and they gotta fight President Trump. What do you guys make of that, James? What do you make of that?
Well, the first thing that was pointed out to me was Cory Booker's looked like they were bugged out. He said he was fasting for 25 hours to do that. Some people think he was under the influence of some type of substance.
Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry. It was Cory Booker, not Hakeem Jeffries.
It was a showboat, and they.
But to what end?
It was nothing. It was nothing but 25 hours of mumbling. He covered a whole lot of subjects.
Alex, what do you?
Protesting that he couldn't get back into the White House to his little white baggie.
Yeah, maybe that was.
Yeah, I'm like, did somebody need to perform some sort of mental evaluation or perform some sort of something test to see if there's some sort of substance was on? Because that is just.
I mean, it's pretty impressive. 25 hours of pushing through, but I didn't listen
For
to.
what?
Huh?
I agree, but for what?
Exactly. What's the reason for it? I don't get that.
Looking like an idiot.
Yeah, I don't know what to make of that.
You wanted to, I guess, book a world record. I don't know. That's about all he got.
Maybe that's what it was. Terry Dykes wants to know, is the president on? No, Terry, we're going to live stream it. Waiting for him to come on. It was supposed to be 1 o'clock. It was supposed to be 3 o'clock Eastern. They pushed it to 4 o'clock Eastern. 3 minutes. So it looks like we're about 3 minutes away, and we will be putting it on the screen. So
And just a message to one of my personal friends out there, Dave. When I'm live, don't text me. Just type it in the chat, bro.
that's why I put all my stuff on silent when I'm on, because it's just too.
I can't do that with mom. So.
Oh yeah, Amy Ruger said that Cory Booker is a narcissist. Yeah, I think you're right, Amy. I think you hit the nail on the head. So Ben59, thank you for the gifts. Our Jeff Code, thank you for the gifts. So as I said, we are waiting for President Trump to come on. I don't know if they moved it from 3 to 4 o'clock. We should be getting. Alex, are you on? Make sure.
Yes, sir. I'm refreshing the page frequently.
Okay, cool. Just wanted to make sure. So
YouTube's got it live as well.
okay. So in the meantime, if you're on, double tap that screen. Please share this live out. A couple of different daily goals going today. Tiny Dinies, and if you'd like to be part of our inner circle with subscriptions, we'd love to have you. You can subscribe to the channel. And then if you're on YouTube, Facebook, X, or Rumble, please give us the positive affirmation button, thumbs up. And you can also send us messages or questions on the chat on those other if you'd like. All right. So we pretty much have covered the daily dispatch. Now let's see what everybody's saying in the chat here. So Gary Dykes, we're waiting for that. Mile High Shepherd said they can't they limit them to a max time? I don't know why that was allowed to go on for as long as it was. Do you guys have any ideas on that?
All I know is that it was not called a filibuster, but that's essentially what he was doing, if you really want to look at it. But it wasn't labeled that because the filibuster are out right now.
Huh. And if somebody could pull up what it was that Paula just subscribed. Thank you, Paula. Glad you're part of the circle now. If one of you could pull up the 3 votes that take place in the House this week that will no longer be taken, if one of you guys could pull that up, that would. John Gwynn said the Dems have no good reason. I agree. Outcast 7 said maybe UD. I'm not sure what that means. John Gwynn, thank you for the gifts. Let's see. Debbie Young 24. President Trump, bring it on. Well, we're waiting for him to get here. As soon as he's on, we're going to switch over to him.
Tim Hutchison said maybe Obama told him to do it.
Yeah. Mateo Legote from New York is here. Hey, Mateo. TK Hourly Girl for 20 plus hours. Yeah, I think it was 25 hours he went. TK, I'm pretty sure it was 25
Yeah, it was 25.
or 25. Yeah, okay. Yeah, so Jan 1959, what did you miss? You missed a whole lot, Jan 1959, but we're glad you made it. We're glad you're here. Just Amy Ruger said Booker thinks he's God's gift to the world. He's a bully. Yeah, I agree. I mean, but again, why, other than being a narcissist and wanting to hear his own voice, I don't really understand the reasoning behind it, why he would do that, but who the hell knows? SF Trash Panda 79 tips. Small water fishing said sometimes more is just more. Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in that, and they want to, they want to hear their own voices. It's just not surprising to me. So, it looks like we got YouTube there going. Is that where we're on today, Van Alex?
Yeah, I just was checking. If you go to YouTube and search the White House, it says we will begin shortly. President Trump participates in the Make America Wealthy event.
Huh.
And that's not what any other C-SPAN. Let's C-SPAN and see what they've got. Support us with ads. Look at that. The page doesn't want to go.
Is that on C-SPAN? Hey, Dave, I don't know what happened to Dave, but Dave, if you want to come back on, just send a request. I don't know what happened to you. I hope I didn't do anything on my end. SF Trash Panda 79, thank you for all the gifts. He hits us here. Hits said, hi, Sam. How are you? Glad to be on the live. You made it. Hits. We are just awaiting President Trump to come out and start speaking on whatever he's going to speak about today. And again, let's do another survey. We did this earlier, but I want to see if we've got a lot more people in here now. Dana Fox is here. Hey, Dana, glad you could make it. We're going to do another survey. Today's Alex already put it to it. If you think today with what I'm going to say, if you think there's going to be more than tariffs announced today, put a 1 in the chat. If you think it's just the tariffs, put a 2 in the chat. I'm just kind of the pulse here. Daddy D said 1. Interstate Inmate 1. James. Mile High Shepherd 1. Donna Christy B 1. Donna Fox Joy 1. Armando Chavez 1. King's Girl 1974 1. Wendy 1. 2. Tim Shaw 1. Mercedes 1. Mateo Lagodi 2. Janet's here. Hey Janet 1. Art Jeffco to subscriber 2. Mark Matson 1. Hopefully. Troy Armstrong 1. Jan 1959 1. Jeremy Brockman 1. Sandra 1. Jojo It's 1. Nurse is a 2. Hey Sarge, glad you could make it. And Sarge says American Made 1. Valerie James 1. Violet 2. Tracy Fagan's here from Ireland. Hey Tracy 1. Debbie Young 1. Wow, so it looks like overall, people are thinking 1. Lisa Maria said 2. Lisa Maria is with you, Alex. So,
I
yeah.
think alike.
Yeah, exactly. I just was curious as to what. Oh, B. Golden's here. And B. Golden's with you at number 2 as well. Interesting. Lots of 1s and a few 2s in there too. Yes, Jan, is Liberation Day, and we are waiting on President Trump to come. We're going to live stream. Oh, Amy Ruger said 1 over on YouTube. Yeah, so we are waiting for President Trump to join to start the press conference. We are going to live stream it on all the platforms. It's.
I vote we change Liberation Day to Libations Day.
And we already had that back.
That surprised me, Alex.
Well, okay, I'm sorry. I'll be.
All right, no, you don't have to behave. That's fine. We need deck relief as well. Melissa, thank you for the gifts. Be Golden, thank you for the gifts.
Refresh. There we go. There. Now it's refreshing. Program will begin shortly. All right, that's
Okay, so they're all on hold at this point, it looks like.
Let's see which one starts faster. We'll put them side by side here. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, no, it's okay. So it looks like most people are hoping for more than just one. And there's a few outliers like Alex that are thinking that it's only going to be the tariffs. But again, today is one day. What could happen tomorrow? What could happen by the end of the week? We just don't know. So I'm encouraged either way, whether it's just the tariffs or it's just the tariffs. I'm comfy AF right now, personally.
Watch those expletives there, sir.
I didn't say it.
I know.
Nurse said, I hope it's more. I think all of us hope it's more, Nurse. But again, don't know what to expect, and I am not going to throw out I'm throwing opinions, but there's just no way to tell at this point. It's going to have to be a wait and see. Okay, so let's see here. Let me see. Hey, Franny Dragonfly. Thank you, Franny. And we made it halfway to our second goal. Thank you, everybody. Crystal said, here we go. Where are we going, Crystal? We're waiting on President Trump is all we're doing. There's a lot of new people on the live today on TikTok. So if you followed me yet, hit the follow button. I do something called the Daily Dispatch. Okay, here we go. All right, everybody. Quiet for the most part and listen to President Trump.
Thank you. Nice crowd. What a good-looking group of people. Well, we have some very, very good news today, and a lot of good things are happening for our country. Please sit down. My fellow Americans, this is Liberation Day. Waiting for April 2nd, 2025 will forever be remembered as the day American industry was reborn, the day its destiny was reclaimed, and the day that we began to make America wealthy again.
Yeah.
For decades, our country has been looted, pillaged, raped, and plundered by nations near and far, both friend and foe alike. American steel workers, auto workers, farmers, and skilled craftsmen, we have a lot of them here with us today. They really suffered great and anguish as foreign leaders have stolen our jobs, foreign cheaters have ransacked our face, and foreign scavengers have torn apart our once beautiful American dream. We had an American dream that you don't hear so much about. You did 4 years ago, and you are now, but you don't too often, for many years and decades even, you didn't hear too much about. Our country and its taxpayers have been ripped off for more than 50 years, but it is not going to happen anymore. Not going to happen. In a few moments, I will start the executive order instituting reciprocal tariffs countries throughout the world. Reciprocal, that means they do it to us, and we do it to them. Very simple. Can't get into that. This is one of the most important days, in my opinion, in American history. It's our declaration of economic independence. For years, hardworking American citizens were forced to sit on the sides as other nations got powerful, much of it at our expense. But now it's our turn to prosper, and in doing trillions and trillions of dollars to reduce our taxes and pay down our national debt, and it all quickly. With today's action, we are finally going to be able to make America great again, greater before. Jobs and factories will come roaring back into our country, and you see it happening already. We will supercharge our domestic industrial base. We will pry open foreign markets and break down foreign trade barriers. And ultimately, more production at home will be stronger competition and lower prices for consumers. This will be indeed the golden age of America. It's coming back. We're going to come back very strongly. We're pleased to be joined on this momentous occasion by Vice President J.D. Vance. Thank you. Okay. Thank you very much, J.D. That wasn't too hard to find. look, and he likes a low-key attitude. So usually he said right in front. He's gaining a lot of confidence, Mike. And nearly my entire cabinet is here, as well as Speaker Mike Johnson has done an amazing job. And with the great success we had last night in prayer, we have a majority of 7. And 7's like a lot when we had it at 1. Right? We've done a fantastic job. And many of the members of the House and Senators, Congressmen, thank you all for being with us. We appreciate it. For decades, the United States slashed trade barriers on other countries while those nations placed massive tariffs on our products and created outrageous monetary barriers to decimate our industries. And in many cases, the non-monetary barriers were worse than the monetary ones. They manipulated these, subsidized their exports, stole our intellectual property, imposed exorbitant taxes to disadvantage our products, adopted unfair rules and techniques, and created filthy.
Everybody tap the screen. We're almost to 50,000. So you got to dance, buddy.
Hey, we never said that at the beginning.
It's all detailed in a very big
Standing rule for the show, sir.
representative on foreign trade barriers, and I'll just hold it up for you. It's available, and you don't have to pay much, as I understand. You pay nothing. It's a lot of work. A lot of work. Something actually, because it's a special book. It's very, frankly, it's very upsetting when you read it, when you see what people have been doing to us for 30 years. This all happened with no response from the United States of America, none whatsoever. But those days are over. Let me offer just a few examples of the vicious attacks have faced for so many years. The United States charged countries only a 2.4 tariff on motorcycles. Meanwhile, Thailand and others are charging much higher prices, like 6%. India charges 70%. Vietnam charges 5%, and others are even higher than that. Likewise, until the United States has for decades charged a 2.5 tariff, at 2.5% on foreign automobiles. The European Union charges us more than 10% tariffs, and they have 20% that's much, much higher. India charges 70%, and perhaps worst of all are the non-monetary restrictions imposed by South Korea, Japan, and very many other nations as a result of these colossal trade barriers. 81% of the cars in South Korea are made in Korea. 94% of cars in Japan are made in Japan. Toyota sells 1 million made automobiles into the United States, and General Motors sells almost. Ford sells very little. None of the companies are allowed to go into other countries. And I say that friend and foe, and in many cases the friend is worse than the foe in terms of trade. But such horrendous imbalances devastated our industrial base and put our national security at risk. I don't blame these other countries at all for this country. I blame former presidents and past leaders who weren't doing their job. They let it happen, and they let it happen to an extent nobody can even believe. That's why, effective at midnight, we will impose a 20% tariff on all foreign-made automobiles.
Whoa.
Wow.
Brian, I'd like to have you come up there.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. He's been a fan of ours, and he understands this business a lot better than the economists, a lot better than anybody. Brian, say a few words, please. Thank you. Great honor to have you.
Thank you, Mr. President. I grew up just north of Detroit, Michigan, in Macomb County, known as the Reagan Democrat. My first vote for president was for Ronald Reagan. I thought that was going to be the best president I ever saw in my lifetime until Donald along. I have watched my entire life. I have watched plant after plant after plant in Detroit and in the Detroit area close. There are now plants sitting idle. There are now plants that are underutilized, and Donald Trump's policies are going to bring product into those underutilized plants. There's going to be new investments. There's going to be new plants. So, Mr. President, we can't thank you enough. 6 months or a year, we're going to begin to see the benefits. I can't wait to see what's happening 3 or 4 years down the road. Thank you.
What a great guy. He got it right from the beginning. He got it before almost anybody else. This group over there, they got it. And, you know, we won the state of Michigan. We won almost all of them. But we won Michigan by a lot. And thank you all. The honor officers were fantastic. The teachers were fantastic. It was pretty good, I will tell you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. You're going to be very happy very soon. And you probably see what's happening with all of the, not only car companies, but car companies in particular. See it with all of the ones they're moving, they're announcing day in, day out. You see, nobody's ever seen anything like that with actions. We're also standing up for our great farmers and ranchers who are brutalized all over the world, who are brutalized. Canada, by the way, imposes a 250 to 300% tariff on many of our dairy products. They do the first can of milk. They do a little carton of milk at a very low price, but after that, again, it gets up to 275 to 300%. So when they're figuring what's Canada charging, they know about 2%, 3%. But take a look at what happens down the road when you look a little bit. It's a pretty picture, and we don't like it, and it's not fair. It's not fair to our farmers. It's not fair to our country. And with this country of Canada, you know, we subsidize a lot of countries and keep them going and keep them in business. In the case of Mexico, $100 billion a year. In the case of Canada, it's close to $200 billion a year. And I say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? I mean, at what point do we say you got to work for yourself, and you know this is why we have the big deficits. So we have that amount of debt that's been placed on our heads over the last number of years, and we're not taking it anymore. Through non-tariff barriers, the European Union bans imports of most American homes. You understand? They say we want to send you our car, we want to send you everything, but we're not going to take anything that Australia bans, and they're wonderful people and wonderful every ban American beef, yet we imported 3 billion Australian beef from them just last year alone. They won't take any of our beef. They don't want it because they don't want it to affect. And you know what? I don't blame them, but we're doing the same thing right now, starting at midnight tonight, I would say. And China charges American rice farmers an overquoted tariff rate of 65%. South Korea charges 50%, actually from 50% to 513%. In Japan, our friend charges us 700%. That's because they don't want us selling rice and other things. Who can blame them, Madam Secretary? Agriculture did a great job on eggs, by the way. The egg prices came down 50%. We got them down 50%. Once we got it, we were going through the sky. The egg prices, they were going through it. You did a fantastic job. Now we have lots of eggs, and they're much cheaper down, about 15% now, and they're going down further. We charge 2.8% for so many things that other countries are charging 200%, 300%, and 400% for it. Imposing tariffs and protective barriers made nations poorer, then every country on earth would be racing to eliminate these policies, and China would be the first in line. We run a very small country, but they're not first in line, and the Americans are paying a very big price. From 1789 to 1950, we were a tariff-backed nation, and the United States was proportionately
1913.
In fact, that in the 1880s, they established a commission to decide what they were going to do with the vast sums of money they were collecting. We were collecting so much money so fast, we didn't know what to do with it. Isn't that a nice problem? What do you think, Marco? Good problem? Marco would love that problem. But we don't have that problem anymore, but we're not going to have it very much longer. I will tell you. Collected so much money, they actually formed a commission to determine what they were going to do, who they were going to give it to, and how much. Then in 1913, for reasons unknown to mankind, they established the income tax so that citizens rather than foreign countries would start the money necessary to run our government. Then in 1929, it all came very abrupt end with the Great Depression, and it would have never happened if they had stayed with the tariff policy. It was a much different story. They tried to bring back tariffs to save our country, but it was too late. Nothing could have been done. It took years and years to get out of that depression, far longer than even FDR had that office right over there for a long period of time. The ramp system, it's rather intricate, was built because of him, and every time you walk up, you think of him, and he did a great job in many ways, but it lasted long terms, as you know. But it's not too late. Anyway, we're going to start being smart, and we're being very wealthy again. We're going to be wealthy as a country because they're taking so much of our wealth away from us. We're going to let that happen. We truly can be very wealthy. We can be so much wealthier than any country. It's not even believable, but we're getting smart. Nearly a century later, in the face of economic warfare, the United States can no longer continue with a policy of unilateral economic surrender. We cannot pay the deficits of capital in so many other countries. We used to do it. We can't do it anymore. We take care of countries all over the world. We pay for their military. We pay for everything they have to pay. And then when you want to cut back a little bit, they get upset that you're not taking care of them. And they have to take care of our people. And we're going to take care of our people first. And I'm sorry to say that. And today we're standing up for the American worker and finally putting America first. In Sleepy Joe Biden's last year in office, the United States hemorrhaged 100,000 manufacturing jobs, and the number was going through the roof at levels never seen before. And our deficit reached a record $1.2 trillion, which is unheard of. Since the beginning of NAFTA, the worst ever made. It was a horror show. I was able to tell that they all said you'd never be able to get it out. We had to get approval from Congress to get it terminated. We had to live with that deal. It was the worst deal, worst trade deal ever made by far. But since the very beginning, our country lost 90,000 factories. Think of what that is, 90,000. Think about putting a map up and putting caps on it. You wouldn't have enough room. 90,000. I said, is that possible? We had to check 4 different times, and it was actually somewhat high. And 5 million manufacturing jobs were lost. Well, trade deficits of $19 trillion. That was the worst trade deal ever made. As a result of these gigantic losses, foreign nations now own $26 trillion more of American assets than Americans. Think of this, than the Americans own of their own foreign assets or other foreign assets. The United States can no longer produce enough antibiotics to treat our sick. We have a tremendous problem. We have to go to foreign countries to treat our sick. If anything happened from a war standpoint, we wouldn't be able to do it. We import virtually all of our computers, phones, televisions, and electronics. We used to dominate the field, and now we import it all from different countries. The shipyard in China now produces more ships every year than all of the American shipyards combined. It's a business that we used to dominate. We used to dominate total. In short, chronic trade deficits are no longer merely an economic problem. They're a national emergency that threatens our security and our very way of life. It's a very great threat to our country. And for these reasons, tomorrow, the United States will implement reciprocal tariffs on other nations. It's been a long time since we even thought of that. We used to think about it a lot for many decades, and you see what's happened. For nations that treat us badly, we make the combined rate of all their tariffs, non-monetary barriers, and other forms of cheating. And because we are being very kind people, very kind. Not so kind when you got ripped off with your salaries for work, friends and my teacher friends, all of the unions that typically voted Democrat. They're not voting Democrat anymore because working or non-worker, they're for the Republicans now. That's what happened. But we will charge them approximately half of what they are charging us. So the tariffs will be not a full reciprocal. I could have been, yes, but it would have been tough for a lot of countries that didn't want to do that. I'd like to see the chart if you have it. We'll bring it up, Howard. This is a great Secretary of Commerce, Howard Lutnick. So if you look at that, China, first of all, China, 67%. That's tariff charge to the USA in currency manipulation and trade barriers. So 67%, I think you can, for the most part, see it. Those with good eyes, with bad eyes. We didn't want to bring it out here. We didn't want to bring out the big charts because it had no chances. Fortunately, we came up with a little smaller chart. So 67%, so we're going to be charging a difficult tariff of 34%. I think, in other words, they charge us, we charge them less, and anybody be upset. They will be because we never charge anybody anything. But now we're going to charge. European Union, they're very tough, very, very tough traders. You think of European Union, very friendly. They're real so bad to say. It's 39%. We're going to charge them 20%, so we're charging them essentially half. Vietnam negotiators, great people. They like me, I like them. They probably charge us 90%. We're going to charge them 46% down. Taiwan, where they make all of our computer chips and semiconductors. We used to be the king, right? We're everything. We had all of it. Now almost none of it, except the biggest company is coming in. We're going to end up with almost 40%. Lee Zeldin's working to get their approvals. And it's an amazing company. Mr. Wayne was one of the great companies of the world, actually. They're coming in from Taiwan, one of the biggest plants in the world, maybe the biggest for that. But 4%, we're going to charge them 32%. Japan, very, very tough. Great people. And again, I don't blame the people for doing it. I think they're very smart in doing it. I blame the people that sat right over office, right over there. Right behind us, whichever desk they charge. And 46%, they would charge us 46%, and much higher for certain items like cars, items like cars. 46%, we're charging them 24%. Yeah, very, very tough, very, very, very tough. The Prime Minister just left, and he's a great friend of mine, but I say friend of mine, but they're not be treating us right. They charge us 52%. You have to understand, we charge them almost nothing for years and years and decades. And it was only 7 years ago when I came in, we started with China. Georgia, we took hundreds of billions of dollars from China. And they understood, honestly. They understood. We said, look, I understand. And the other countries said, they all understand. We'll have to go through a little tough love, maybe. But they all understand. They're ripping us off, and they understand. Prime Minister of Japan, Shinzo, he was a fantastic man. He was unfortunately from a cessation. But I went to him and I said, Shinzo, we have to do something. The trade is not fair. He said, I know that. And he was a great gentleman. He was a fantastic man. He understood immediately what I was talking about. I said, Shinzo, something. He said, I know that. And we worked out a deal, and it would have been a much better deal, but frankly, there were many years left in the deal that was made previous to my getting there, but it was something. If you look at Switzerland, 61% to 31%. Malaysia, Cambodia, look at Cambodia, 97%. We're going to bring it down to 40%, and they made a fortune with the United States of America. United Kingdom, 10%. And we'll go 10%. So we'll do the same thing. South Africa, 60%, 30%. And there's some bad things going on in South Africa. We're paying them billions of dollars, and we cut the funding. There's a lot of bad things that are happening in South Africa. The fake news ought to be looking at it. They don't want to report it. Brazil, 10%, 10%. So you see what's going on. Pakistan, 58%. Sri Lanka, 88%. So what we're doing is we're taking not the full 88%. Thanks a lot. He's doing a very good job. How's he doing? Huh? I think you better take it. It's not going to last very long. He's going to follow you down with the wind. I brought a hat just in case you get too windy, but here, with any hat. I'm not giving it to the cabinet. I'm giving it to the auto workers. Thank you, fellas. Yeah, that's it. That's it. They deserve it more than our cabinet. Our cabinet has plenty of help. You see the numbers. The numbers are so disproportionate. They're so unfair. At the same time, we will establish a minimum tariff of 10%. You notice that on the chart? And that'll countries to help rebuild our economy and prevent cheating. So we're going to have a minimum of cheating, and we're going to be very severe on the people that at the gate that watch the product coming in, because there's been a lot of bad things happening at the gate because the money is so enormous that you're talking about. There's never been probably anything like it in terms of the enormity, and there are a lot of things happen. The people that do the checking, they're looking at 10-year jail if they do, but we're going to treat them so good. But if they cheat, the repercussions are going to be extremely strong. Foreign nations will finally be asked to pay for the privilege of access to our market, the biggest market in the world, the richest market in the world. We had a great country 4 years ago in terms of the economics. We were doubling up in China. We were doing so well. Nobody was going to catch us, but so much of it slipped away over the last 4 years under Biden. I campaigned throughout last year, and today that promise was made, and it was also a promise, as you know, that was kept. Promises made, promises kept. To any company that objects to reciprocal tariffs, again, we still back and forth. I call this kind reciprocal. This is not full reciprocal. This is kind reciprocal. But what we do is we cut it in half. We charge them. My answer is very simple. If they complain, if you want your tariff rate to be zero, then you build your product right here in America, because there's no you build your plant, your product in America. And we've seen coming in like we've never seen before. Likewise, all of the foreign presidents, prime ministers, kings, queens, and everyone else who will soon be calling to ask for exemptions from these tariffs. I say, terminate your own tariffs, drop your barriers, don't manipulate the currencies. They manipulate the currencies nobody can even believe, which is a bad thing, really devastating to us. And start buying tens of billions of dollars of American goods, tariffs, give our country against those that would do us economic harm. And people were looking to do us economic harm. Maybe not so obviously. They were doing tremendous economic harm. But even more importantly, those growth, these tariffs are going to give us growth like you haven't seen before. And it'll be very special to watch. I am so looking forward. It's going to happen even faster than you said. You know, you might say, but it's already started. It's already started. Work's already begun on plants all around the country. And you see that it's before. These are big, rich companies. $61 billion started on a big plant going up. It's going to be announced over the next 2 days. They already started work. Many of these biggest companies in the world, they've committed to build. We're going to build, sir. And they came here to see me, and they came, wanted to know that they have a press conference. I do as many as I can. I'm pretty busy trying to stop Russia and Ukraine and the Middle East. We got to stop that. We're going to stop the Houthis. We're making tremendous. They like shooting ships down and out of the water, sinking ships. They get a kick out of it, but they're not getting a kick out of it now, are they, Mr. Secretary? They're not getting such a kick out of that now. But here are just a short list of some of the companies that already announced and committed to investment in. This is the that built its factories and its plants in China is going to spend $500 billion. They never spent money like that here. They're going to build their plants here. SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle, great companies, are investing 500 almost immediately. NVIDIA, a hot company, is investing hundreds of billions of dollars. They just announced TSMC, the biggest, most important company in the world of chips from Taiwan. Investment from us is investing $100 billion, and they said the reason was number one, the election of November 5th, and number two, the tariffs. We don't want to pay the tariffs, and the way they're not paying it, their plan here. So we're going to go from almost no percent. We used to have 100% chip market. Now it's all in Taiwan. Almost all of it's in Taiwan. A couple of other countries, mostly in Taiwan. And think of it, we had 100%. We lost it because of people in that office that didn't do their job. They allowed it to be stolen from us. Johnson & Johnson, great company, $55 billion. Eli Lilly, $27 billion. Meta is investing $500 billion. Wow. The Mac is investing $20 billion. CMA, CGM, $20 billion. And then you have Merck, Clarios, General Motors, GE Aerospace, Honda, Nissan, Hyundai are all putting in billions and billions of dollars, and they're committed 100%. We've never had, and this is after 2.5 months. This is after just a short, this all took place as soon as it came out with what everybody wanted to do. You know, what the gentleman today on the store with Lee Iacocca, a very respected automobile person, and he said, you know, I think they're asking people, they try and get as many negative people as they can, but they can't find them too much. It's pretty hard to find in terms of what we're doing, especially when they see all this investment. They said, so tell me, what do you think of what Trump is doing from the automobile standpoint? He said, I believe that somebody is finally, he's an older guy, real pro, really top guy, with Lee Iacocca. He said, I never thought I'd see that this would happen, where somebody had to go and do what we done. This is transforming our nation. Our nation is going to be transformed not only with the cars, but in every single other item that's going to become an industrial powerhouse. And he said that so beautifully today. And actually, I'm going to find out. I'm going to get a tape. And Bruce, I'm going to get that tape, and I'm going to send it to you out in Long Island, and you're going to play it for the people. And all your union workers and your non-union workers out there, you got a pretty even split. But we have, so far, it looks like we're going to have about $6 trillion of investments, and you wouldn't get years in this country over the last number of years. $6 trillion, and it's going to be much higher by the end of the year. And think of what $6 trillion is. You wouldn't have even a small percentage of that under this other system. We're going to be an entirely different country, and it's fantastic for the workers. It's going to be fantastic for everyone. There will never have been a transformation of a country like the transformation that's already happening in the United States of America. It's an incredible thing. It's incredible to meet with the top people that you read about, very wealthy people, or that are great managers and executives and presidents of public companies, and to watch the enthusiasm they have now that they didn't have. They gave up on our country. The foreign countries and them built. Companies are pouring into our country at levels never seen, with jobs and money to follow, and it's really beautiful. In the coming days, there will be complaints from the globalists and the outsourcers and special interests, and the fake news. Fake news will always complain. But never forget, every prediction our opponents made about trade for the last 30 years has been proven totally wrong. They were wrong about NAFTA. They were wrong about NAFTA. They were wrong about the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would have been a disaster if I didn't terminate it. If I didn't terminate that, auto workers, you would have had no jobs, country. You would have had no jobs. It was all going to other countries. In my first term, they said tariffs would crash the economy. Instead, we built the greatest economy in the history of the world. And again, great respect for President Xi of China, great respect for China, but they were taking tremendous advantage of us, and I commend them for that. I say, hey, if you can get away, that's okay. But you know, they understand exactly what's happening, and they probably, most of them are saying it's about time they did something. But and they're going to fight. They're going to fight here. Everyone's going to fight. You know, it's like we're saying to the leaders, look, you got to take care of your country, but we have to start taking care of our country now. We can't do what we've been doing for the last 50 years. Of my election, the stock market in my first term, 88%, NASDAQ going up 155% more than any president has ever had in any term in office. And I think and maybe the numbers won't show, but I think they're going to show much better than even those numbers. You're going to see activity that empty, dead sites, factories falling down. Those factories will be knocked down, and they're going to have brand new factories built in that place. They're not only talking about renovating, they're talking brand new, the best anywhere in the world, the biggest anywhere in the world. I have a friend who builds car plants, and I said, I want to see the biggest and the best. He said, well, we have to go to Mexico. I said, no, I want to see it in the United States. He said, we're not building them in there. This is a year and a half ago. He said, we're not building it. You have to go to Mexico. When I decided to run, and I went to number one in the polls very rapidly, I want to say. That was like let's say in the first hour. And then shortly thereafter, it looked like I was going to win, and the fake news was saying, oh, no, don't do it. They don't know, and if I didn't win, they would have really been in trouble. Because nobody wants to read them anywhere. But anyway, when it looked like I was going to win, I announced that I was going to be exactly what we're talking about today. Great consistency, actually, because I've been talking about it but because I saw what was happening 40 years ago. If you look at my old speeches where I was young, very handsome, my old speeches, and then people would say, on a television show, I'd be talking about we were being ripped off by these countries, and nothing changes very much. The only thing that changed were the countries, but nothing really changes. But it's why it's such an honor. It's such an honor to be finally able to do this. China, I took in hundreds of billions of dollars in my term, hundreds of billions. They never paid 10 cents to any other president, and yet they paid hundreds of billions, so much so that Biden couldn't do anything. They wanted to try and terminate it because he had a very special relationship with China. You know what the relationship was? He had a special relationship. But the numbers were so big. The numbers were so big that they couldn't do it. So they did ease it up. They did things that done. They made it a lot more comfortable for them. They couldn't do it because the numbers were hundreds of billions of dollars. And I did that. And we were on our way to doing something like incredible. And then we had a very bad election happen. Very bad election. A lot of bad things happened. So when I said we're going to do it again, I said we have to make it too big to rig it. We made it too big to rig it. We won in records, and it was a monumental win. And it was such an honor to see so many of you, like your friends, here with us to celebrate and to celebrate what we're doing, because that wouldn't be a full celebration in business, because this will be an entirely different country in a short period of time. It'll be something the whole world will be talking about. And the critics made the very tired predictions earlier this year, but in fact, core inflation dropped to the lowest rate in 4 years. And the price of eggs, as you know, just in a month and a half, there for 4 weeks. And the first week, I got blamed for eggs. I just got it. They said eggs have gone up at 150%, and you can't get eggs. And they were going crazy, and I said, I just got here. And then we got to work on eggs, so we got to work on everything, and our great Secretary of Agriculture, he did a fantastic job. Brooke Rollins did a fantastic job. As I said before, the price of eggs dropped now 59%, and they're going down more, and the availability is fantastic. They were saying that Easter, please don't use eggs. Use plastic eggs. I said, we don't want to do that. We want to, and they're really busy. Thank you very much, Dr. Big Red. But like an old-fashioned term that we use groceries, I use it on the campaign. it's such an old-fashioned term, but a beautiful term, groceries. It's a bag with different things in it. Groceries went through the roof. And I campaigned on that. I talked about the word groceries for a lot. And energy costs now are down. Groceries, the best rate is way under $3, and people are beginning to buy things and live again. We brought this way down. We created 10,000 in a few weeks, new manufacturing jobs, and it was that took place in 1 month. We haven't seen it in a long time. We had virtually no inflation in my term. We had virtually no inflation for 4 years. But after transitioning over to Joe, it went from almost non-existent to the highest in the history of our country. Highest inflation in the history of our country, brought up by energy and bad spending and bad policy. A lot of bad things happen. Allowing millions and millions and millions of people to pour into our country with open borders, where it's so sad to see even now. And I see our great secretary of you have done. Stand up, please, Christine. Stand up. Christine Holm and Tom Holman. These people are doing a great job, but got them out of records. We have problems with judges that don't want them to go out. They want Tren de Aragua, and they want MS-13, the most vicious gangs ever. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Absolute. They kill people they don't even think about it. And we put them out, and we have judges now, radical left judges that they don't want them to go out. They want them to even be brought back. Let's bring them back. You've done a fantastic job, and please thank every Homeland Security. Thank everybody. Appreciate it. And we now have the best border that we've ever had. Even better than it was my first term. The first term we did good, but this one we really specialized in. We've done really well. And we had records then. We had the best, safest border 4 years ago. We had the border there ever was. And now we have, you've actually maxed it and done even better. And we're going to get it down the right way. And we want people, by the way, to come into our country, but we want them to come into a legal process. We want them to come legally. We need more people. We need people to answer and to help the auto workers and the teachers and the non-union people and everybody else. But we need people, the farmers, and we let people come in, but they want to come in. We want them to come in legally. They have to have the capability of loving our country, not people that hate our country. We don't want them in our country. And now we're asking largest tax cuts in American history, and that's where we're relying on Mike and John Thune. And we will not cut Social Security, Medicare, or benefits, and the Democrats will, because if they got the entire economy would collapse. This country was heading for a collapse under the people that you saw. They were horrible. One of the reasons people like the job. I had my highest approval ratings because I think they compare the worst administration in the history of our country. So I appreciate that at least. But Speaker of the House and Senate Majority Leader, appreciate it. John Thune has been fantastic, by the way. But they've been working on taking the next step to pass the plan for our one beautiful bill. I like to name it that if you can. One big bill. I think they've been about 6 months ago, and everybody goes, one big beautiful bill. And it will be that of everything, the big tax cuts and every incentive there is. And it'll be fantastic. And by the way, for the cars, we're asking for interest deduction on the loan. So if you build the car, only in America we do it, Brian. If the car's not built in America, the interest rate deduction. But if you build the car, if you buy a car, if it's built in America, then you get a straight deduction, tax deduction, and that's a big thing. It's going to be a big thing. I think it's up very quickly, that deduction. We've never had anything like that before. Somebody said, where did you get the idea? Because it's so basic. You would think that would have happened ago. It never did, and I'm very happy it didn't, because now I can say that was my idea. But we're going to get us closer to the debt extension. We have to get the debt extension passed, and then you're going to be able to do that, Mike, and it's very important that you do that. And all of the other things that the Senate budget plan gives us, along with working, I know they're working together, John and Mike, And the two bills go together. We need to get our shared priorities done, including certain permanent tax cuts. We want the tax cuts to be permanent, spending cuts, energy and historic investments in defense, and so much more. We're covering everything. These will be phenomenal. There'll be no one bill is going to straighten out our country for many, many years to come. And we said, let's just do it. Let's get it done. And some guys will love it, and some guys will like it a little less because they're not getting what they were exactly looking for, but they're getting a lot. They'll never, if we get this done, the most incredible bill in the history of our Congress and congressmen, the senators and the congressmen, many of whom are here today, and we'll be very proud of this. I really believe that it's going to set us on a whole new prosperous path. We're going to cut spending and right-size the budget back to where it should be. We're going to do that very strongly. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, John. Thank you. Oh, look at all of our senators. Oh, boy. That's a nice group of people. But I won't like them so much to get this bill done. That's a great group. And Congressman, thank you very much. I appreciate it. Tremendous people. The Senate plan is my complete and total support, and the House plan likewise is very similar. We're moving along pretty much at the same clip, and as soon as you're ready, you'll show it to me, and I'm sure it'll have my support. Every Republican congressman and senator, let's unify. We have to unify. We can't be separated. We have to get it done. We have to get absolutely everything we can, and we have to take care of the people. That's the only thing that matters. We have to take care of the American people first. We need to pass this bill immediately, get it done, and eventually. From this day on, we're not going to let anyone tell us that American workers and families cannot have the future that they deserve. We're going to produce the cars and ships, airplanes, minerals, and medicines that we need here in America. The pharmaceutical companies are going to become roaring back. They're coming roaring back. They're all coming back to us because if they don't, they got a big tax to pay. And if they do, I'll be happy. And you're going to be very happy. You're going to be very safe. Our future with American hands, with American heart, American steel, and we're going to build it with American pride like we used to. We're approaching our 100th day, and I've been given credit by, actually, even some of the fake news. Can you believe it? Which in this case, hopefully, isn't fake. For having done more at that time than any other administration in the history of our country. In the first 100 days, we've had an amazing, in terms of what we've done, what we've gotten accomplished. Like you see when you get that war ended and another war from not starting in the Middle East, you have to get Russia. We're losing 2,000 on average, 2,500 people today, young people, soldiers, Russian, at 2,500 through some days, but on average, probably over about a 1 week period, it's 2,712, they say. They're losing those soldiers. They're dying. They're being decimated. And they're not from our country, they're from other countries. They're human beings. They're from Russia. They're from Ukraine in this period, most of them. And we're going to get it stopped. It's a senseless war that would have never happened if I was president, and it shouldn't be able to go on. I think we've been given good cooperation by Russia and Ukraine, both sides. It's humanity. It's a terrible thing. This will be a very big moment that you're going to remember today. It's going to be a free nation that we're dealing with. We're going to have a very free, beautiful nation. It's going to be Liberation Day. And
Libation Day.
You're going to look back in years to come, and you're going to say, you know, he was right. This has turned out to be the most important days in the history of our country. Thank you, and God bless America. Thank you, everybody. Thank you.
Excellent.
He's going to sign the bill.
Yeah, and he's gonna sign it with a pen in front of everyone, so there's no question.
Right? Hold on. Wait. Still going.
Auto workers.
With respect to imports. The other is the big one, is the reciprocal tariff executive order that the president just spoke about. This is obviously a huge deal, and it's been an honor to be getting this right for.
Hopefully he gives one of those, that pen to one of those auto workers. That'd be cool.
He probably was.
He's got a whole box of pens on his desk.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
I wonder why they're not showing the angle of him.
Let's see.
There it is. Okay. With a pen on paper.
Quite frankly, we don't use pen.
Wouldn't be prudent. Not gonna do.
Wouldn't be prudent.
Pass out the Sharpies. I wonder how much the sales of Sharpie pens went up in the last 4 months.
Quite frankly, they're going to be made in America from now on.
Well, just like that.
Wow.
I don't think everybody really understands what he said and what he just did.
Right.
Because he just explained why your Ford F-150 cost you $100,000 7 years ago, or 8, even 10, cost you half that.
Yeah.
I was watching a deal on the internet the other day. Back, I think it was 1977 Chevy Blazer, $7,000.
Yeah.
He just laid out everything that explains why we have been
from
taxed
1913 on up, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exactly what we've talked about. What's happened with the dollar.
Exactly.
What happened in 1913? Christmas Eve?
Yeah, and it's not only the tariffs that are going to help. It's the monetary switch. We're talking about what the dollar can buy versus it has been able to buy 97% less in 1913. And that's the direction that we're going. And I for one, am glad to see. All right, so let's get some input from everybody on the screen here. Good to see you. Jen, great to see you. Oh, I lost Jen. Oh, there she is. Okay. Adam, why don't you lead?
I was just going to say that you're looking at where you literally just laid out where your money went to and what was going on. And I think what he also did under everything was he just said for the currencies being reset.
Yep.
I think it's the biggest silent thing that he didn't say but did.
Right. Captain, what are your thoughts? Can't really.
I'm a little under the I don't really understand what this guy said.
You don't understand what?
Your microphone isn't on, Captain. You're going through Jess.
Him and Jen are in the same room. So.
Yeah.
More or less, I'll just answer for you. Like, since we just came in for more of the specifics of what just exactly happen? Like, what was he exactly signing?
Reciprocal tariffs, which means if another country charges us goods in their country 10%, then we're going to charge them 10%. If they charge 700%, we're going to charge them 700%. Tariffs. It just makes sense.
Dave, what are your thoughts?
Well, like we talked about it, it's going back when he talked about 1913, and his ultimate plan is to bring the money and the job back to the United States.
Exactly. James?
Well, I'm pretty happy that it was going to be the golden age of America. I'm happy to talk about farmers. He's definitely pumped about the farming. I think Al hit the nail square on the head. Bringing this financial package in full circle will be probably the most exciting thing we're ever going to get to experience.
100%, I agree. Jen, do you have any other thoughts?
Every time I see him pick that pen up, I get so excited. Like I was there. Like I give him a hug and just be like, curse, like say the F word with him because that's his favorite word, and it's I'm just dead right now.
Well, thank you for not saying it on here.
I don't do that. No, only in my life. Hi, everybody.
Alex, what are your thoughts?
Well, it's about Dan. And just so you know, Sam, we got 66. You're not going to get out of it.
All right. All right.
So, further ado, before my final thoughts, every show, if we hit 50,000 likes, our favorite Daily Dispatch rock star, Sam, loves when I make him do the Trump dance.
Yeah.
So, it would get up out of their chairs.
And everybody else on the screen, let's go.
Join us as we celebrate liberation with Sam.
All right.
All right. Oh, we got to turn off the press release. Although I love her, Caroline Levitt is awesome.
She's badass.
All right, here we go.
I'm hurting it. I'm going to do this.
Come on, Captain. Go. Oh, there we go. All right. Good job, everyone. Excellent. Great job. Oh, my gosh. Well, what a day. So much happening. So much to be excited about. And it looks like Alex was right. It was only about tariffs today. But I, for one, am just stoked that we are where we are at. President Trump is in office. So many good things. Hold on a second. Oh, okay. Go ahead. See you, Captain. Hope you feel better soon.
Thank you, sir. I'm still here. I'm just in Jenny's box.
Okay. All right. So we've had a lot of excitement today, a lot going on. I, for one, am glad to see the trajectory that our hey, we hit the live goal. Thank you, everybody. So we are moving in the right direction. Lots of good things are happening. I, for one, am just excited to see where this is all headed towards. And let's do a quick final thought from everybody. Jen, you go first.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited. I'm pumped up. I love this live I've ever been in on TikTok. Let's make America great again. Let's go.
There we go. David.
Excited. Surprising the market's holding their own against these tariffs. Tomorrow morning, it's overnight. Kind of a story, but I think everybody's optimistic, so it may just keep carrying on.
Exactly.
We'll see what happens.
Again, I think that the bigger there is the silent one. I can't wait to kind of digest what you put out that booklet of what had been going on. If you start looking down the list of how he set the tariffs, I really think that has something with the currency. And it is in its face the enrichment of the American people, but even more when we see that when it translates to those things.
Right. James?
Big word said that I admire heavily is economic independence, and that's a key in the ignition with a whole bunch of ether behind it.
Yeah, exactly. Alex? Alex is in dance mode.
Quite frankly, I love Liberation Day. Thank you all for joining us. Thank you for the gifts. Thank you for your support. Let's make America great. Thank you for your daily dispatch. Truly a great American, Sam Shaw, who Jesse is. He's great. He's great as well.
Thanks. All right, everyone. Thank you all for being here. Thank you, Adam, Alex, Jen, Dave, James. Thank you, everyone in the live on YouTube, Facebook, Rumble, and TikTok. We are going in the right direction. I am excited, and we will be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Pacific time for our next live. So join us if you can. And in the meantime, get outside, get some sun, hug the ones you love, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, everybody.